About 500,000 tons of snails are consumed globally every year, especially in Europe and West Africa. But back in Kenya, Rosemary Odinga is an entrepreneur who's ventured into snail farming, eager to whet the appetite of Kenyans with this foreign delicacy. Wendo reports.
Rosemary Odinga whistles to her sloppy friends, a practice she says makes them happier. These little animals have been her lifeline for the past 8 years after learning about them during a visit to Nigeria.
When I came back, I did a little research on the internet to find out more about snails. And then I contacted a specialist on snails at the university, Dr. Musombi, who has since passed away. So we started off slowly with him. Then I went to the relevant authorities, did a whole bunch of research. So he's the one who got for us this first set of snails, because you have to make sure that they're edible. There are some that are poisonous. Even here we have some that we don't use. And when we did our research, we got the right species, and it was very interesting. I think we started with 13, and all but 2 died.
The 2 surviving snails gave birth to shelltops, a heliculture business that breeds the giant African land snail, also known as Achatina fulica.
One snail can produce between 300 to 500 eggs twice a year. That's usually the rainy season, like now. So you can imagine we have over 3,000 snails right now. So our production can be, you double that by 300,000. Our production can be in the millions.
Although a seemingly simple setup, Rosemary reckons that farming snails is a tedious and delicate process that requires sharp expertise.
No, it's not just buckets and a greenhouse and some water. Like I said, you have to look at your environment. Then you have to look at the soil, because even we had to learn there's a ratio of soil to the bucket, and the ratio of soil, the type of soil that you use is also something. Then we also, the calcium, we've had to test different types of calcium, so there is that. And you have to be very careful. Like I said, you need a license from the Kenya Wildlife Society, KWS, because if you don't, snails can become a pest, and that's one of the reasons why they're extremely concerned about who is doing heliculture. If not, then they can invade your farms, they can invade your neighbors' farms. So it's not something that you can do and think it's easy and move on.
Snails are quite an unfamiliar delicacy in Kenya, but curious locals have adopted the gourmet meal because of its numerous health benefits.
First of all, it's a protein, so that takes care of the protein process. It's easy to handle. So in terms of farming, it's something that should be, I think, encouraged, or at least that was my hope, until I found that they are a restricted animal species. Then the other thing is that they are good for cholesterol. So because they're not high in cholesterol, they're a white meat. So they're good in cholesterol, and they're very easy to prepare once you've gotten the hang of it. It's like mushrooms or shrimp. In fact, snails are shrimp of the land.
It costs a customer about $25 for just 800 grams of snails, but the high price is no match for the hungry expatriate community in Kenya.
Just before I came, I received a phone call. We've got 2 clients, new clients. There's a fisherman. Some fishermen prefer to use the snails. We have mostly expatriates who come from West Africa, Europe, and also Asia, who are our clientele. So we can't even meet the demand now for other local interests, for example.
Rosemary, who's also a cassava farmer, champions for alternative farming and encourages the youth to venture into modern agricultural practices.
Shelltops is about alternative farming and encouraging young people to get into farming. So hopefully in the next few years, not just in Kenya, but all over East Africa and Africa, we will be encouraging more young people to get into farming. Hopefully at the end of this year, we will have one of our several seminars. So hopefully you'll see shelltops, more and more people can associate it with alternative farming solutions.